May Christ be with you.
And also with you.
A reading from the Good News according to
Glory to you, O
Mark.
Christ.
Upon leaving the synagogue, Jesus entered Simon and Andrew's house with James and John. Simon's mother-in-law lay ill with a fever, and they told Jesus about her immediately. Jesus went over to her, took her by the hand, and helped her up, and the fever left her. Then she went about her work. After sunset, as evening drew on, they brought to Jesus all who were ill and possessed by demons. Everyone in the town crowded around the door. Jesus helped many who were sick with different diseases and cast out many demons. But Jesus would not permit the demons to speak because they knew who he was. Rising early the next morning, Jesus went to a lonely place in the desert and prayed there. Simon and some companions managed to find Jesus and said to him, Jesus said to them, "Let us move on to the neighboring villages so that I may proclaim the good news there also. That is what I have come to do." So Jesus went into their synagogues, proclaiming the good news and expelling demons throughout the whole of Galilee. This is the good news of Christ Jesus.
Praise to you, O Christ.
You may have noticed this Job 7 reading. It says that life is futile drudgery and insomnia. Oh, and he'll never have joy again. Spoiler, he does. Psalm 147 says God rebuilds Jerusalem, gathers exiles, heals the brokenhearted, binds up wounds, and sustains the lowly. So it's not been fun, but God's got your back. In 1 Corinthians 9, Paul says he's under such a compulsion to preach the gospel, he'll be ruined if he didn't. And that the only reward he hopes for is that he shares in the blessing in the end. Then in the gospel, Jesus just gets used up. He has just come from casting the demon. He goes back to his core disciples' home, and Peter's mother-in-law is sick. So he heals her, enough so that she gets up and starts bustling around. Then the entire town descends. Heal, exorcise, until each one who was diseased or diseased had been tended. So early the next morning, Jesus gets up and sneaks out of the house full of sleeping disciples, out of town and out to specifically a lonely place in the desert. He was exhausted, just needing a little bit of peaceful rest. He found his lonely spot with nobody to heal and got in some quiet time with Dad. I hope a decent time passed before his ever helpful disciples found where he was in truth hiding. They proceeded to tell him, "Everyone is looking for him." I can hear the sigh in his voice. Yes, well, that's my job. Let's go on to the next villages and do it again. Listen, this time I'll put the emphasis in. Rising early the next morning, Jesus went to a lonely place in the desert and prayed there. Simon and some companions managed to find Jesus and said to him, "Everybody is looking for you." Jesus said to them, "Let us move on to the neighboring villages so that is what I've come to do." So Jesus went into their synagogues, proclaiming the good news and expelling demons throughout the whole of Galilee. I don't know about you, but I'm tired. Pretty much everyone I see is tired. The soldiers videoed singing "Poor Wayfaring Stranger" in the Library of Congress are tired. The lawmakers who are variably becoming aware of their PTSD from the insurrection a month ago but probably don't have a handle on how it's controlling their thoughts, decisions, and actions, are tired. I wonder how it's affecting them. I wonder how it's affecting us. That's on top of a full year of pandemic. The eye and body and brain strain of working and social contact being distanced. That's on top of losses, lives, security, health, connection. And that's on top of grief. People, places, activities, conveniences. The simple ability to go somewhere when you want and not worry about unknown consequences. This last couple of weeks, people aren't meeting each other's eyes. They aren't moving with purpose nearly as much as they were. Of course, we're tired. So, we're tired. Was grieving and tired and could no longer see any way he'd have joy again. Paul was tired but wouldn't come out and admit it while he described his gymnastics to try to approach everyone in an irreproachable way because he felt virtuous in it and because he knew spending himself like that proved the gospel is worth spending ourselves like that. And if we take too much back, well, let's just say the church has thoroughly proven the corruption that comes from letting yourself take too much reward from the work. Huh? Jesus was tired. Being Christ all the time is exhausting. Sometimes I think Jesus Christ Superstar did us a huge favor, letting us see and imagine him so doggone tired. It's a good thing that our God is also the God of Sabbath. But still, like Paul, there's always work to do. And still, like Job, there's always life to get through. And still, like the Christ he is, after all, the need is so huge. And we, Christ bearers, in our own way, we know it too. The consolation here is in the psalm. God will rebuild Jerusalem, though it's with the recalled exiles, the wounded, and the brokenhearted, so that's still work. God will bind wounds, heal broken hearts. And here's the secret to it. Go back to that exhausted Jesus image. That's God in the mix, as tired as we are, armfuls of bandages binding wounds. That's God lifting brick after brick. That's God sitting right next to each one of us when we cannot sit next to each other. That's God. God with us, God in us, God through us. That is how we have a share in the blessing. That is how we experience joy again. That is how we proclaim good news. Your demons along the way, throughout our own Galilee, Judea, and beyond. Yes, even to the ends of the earth. Now hear me clearly say it again. God is the God of Sabbath. Take your times and know that this is also Christ-like. To sneak off into the desert alone to pray. St. Francis needed about 2 months a year in a cave to reset his soul and go on. I need my monthly silent retreats. Honor your needs. I was at a Teachers of Color conference this weekend and heard powerful words. Get this, rest is resistance. Sometimes rest is what we do to make ourselves best able to go back and take up our burdens. We are Christ's body, and we need to take care of it. Once you do that, and the needs come and find you again, because they will, it'll be God that helps you carry the bandages, the bricks, the hearts, the message. There's a song from the African American church that is sort of my endurance mantra. I sang it for Bishop David on his 30th anniversary of ordination as a Black gay Catholic priest. I don't feel no ways tired. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, but I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. We spend so much awareness on the things that tire us. What equips us? When have you taken that time to go to the desert alone to pray? How do you get through these tiring times? Let's share some reassurance with each